People often hear that someone over 70 lives alone and immediately ask, "Don't you get lonely?"
But here is what they rarely understand. A quiet home can feel peaceful,
while a crowded room can feel painfully lonely. Living alone describes your address. Loneliness describes whether you feel seen, heard, and connected. For many people, having a home of their own represents freedom. Freedom earned after decades of work, caregiving, and responsibility. But solitude can also change quietly. The same routine that restores you today can gradually begin to shrink your world. So the real question is not, do I live alone? The real question is this: is my solitude restoring me or slowly separating me from the life I still want? In this video, we will explore 7 truths about living alone after 70. You will discover how to protect your independence, recognize the early signs of isolation, and stay connected without surrendering your peace. Let us begin with truth number 1. Quiet does not mean empty. After a lifetime of responsibility, silence can feel like something you have finally earned. For years, your mornings may have belonged to an alarm clock, an employer, children who needed you, or a spouse who depended on your care. Even your weekends may have been filled with errands, obligations, and problems that somehow became yours to solve. Then one day the house becomes quiet. Other people may hear that silence and assume something is missing. But you may hear freedom. You can make your tea exactly the way you like it. You can sit beside the window without explaining why you are doing nothing. You can listen to an old song, read the same page twice, or take your time preparing breakfast. These moments may look ordinary, but they represent ownership of your life. There is no audience to impress, and nobody whose expectations you must satisfy. That is not emptiness, that is peace. Sometimes peace looks empty only to people who have never had to fight for it. But peace is not determined by how many people are absent from your home. It is determined by what happens inside your heart when the door closes. And that brings us to truth number 2. Being around people does not guarantee connection. Imagine an older woman attending a family dinner. The table is full. Her children are discussing work. Her grandchildren are looking at their phones, and the conversation moves too quickly for her to enter. Everyone loves her. Nobody is deliberately being cruel. But during the entire evening, not one person asks what she has been thinking about. Nobody asks what she misses or what she is looking forward to. Later, she returns to her quiet home and closes the door. Which part of her day was truly lonely? Was it entering the empty house? Or was it spending hours surrounded by people who never really saw her? Loneliness is not measured by the number of people in a room. It is measured by the distance between what is inside your heart and what you feel safe enough to share. Sometimes one honest conversation offers more connection than an entire week of polite visits. So, if you enjoy living alone, you do not need to feel guilty. And if you feel lonely while surrounded by family, you do not need to feel ungrateful. Both experiences are real. Instead of asking, "How many people are around me?" ask a better question: "With whom can I stop pretending?" The answer may be one trusted friend, a sibling, a neighbor, or someone you met only recently. The length of a relationship does not always determine its depth. What matters is whether you can be honest inside it. Now, truth number 3. Independence does not mean doing everything yourself. Many older adults refuse help because they fear what accepting it might represent. Today, someone helps with groceries. Tomorrow, perhaps they begin making decisions for you. Eventually, you worry that people may conclude you can no longer manage your own life. That fear is understandable. But refusing every form of assistance does not always protect independence. Sometimes, it places independence at greater risk. A small home repair remains unfinished. An important appointment is missed because transportation is difficult. A minor problem becomes an emergency because nobody knew help was needed. Real independence is not carrying every burden alone. It is arranging enough support around yourself so you can continue making your own choices. Consider creating a simple independence circle. Choose one person you can contact in an emergency. Arrange for one trusted person to check in regularly. Keep a reliable transportation option available. And write important telephone numbers somewhere easy to find. These are not signs that you have lost control. They are ways of protecting it. Accepting appropriate help does not make you a burden. The right help should preserve your independence, not replace it. But practical support is only one part of living well alone. Once nobody expects you to wake up, report to work, prepare a meal, or care for someone else, freedom can begin to lose its shape. That is where truth number 4 begins. Even freedom needs structure. When no one controls your schedule, the first feeling may be relief. You can wake up when you choose. There are no meetings to attend, and no meals that must be served at a particular time. But complete freedom has a hidden difficulty. When nobody is waiting for you, and nothing feels urgent, one day can begin to resemble the next. Morning becomes afternoon. Monday becomes Friday. Eventually, you may stop asking what you want from the day and simply allow the hours to pass. The problem is not having free time. The problem is losing your reasons to begin. A meaningful life does not require a crowded calendar. It requires something that still calls you forward. That something does not need to impress anyone. It might be caring for a garden, walking to a familiar shop, attending a place of worship, helping a grandchild, volunteering, or teaching someone a skill you spent decades learning. Purpose does not disappear when you retire. It simply stops arriving in the form of a job description. Try giving each day 3 simple anchors. 1 reason to get dressed, 1 reason to move your body, and 1 reason to connect, create, or contribute. These anchors will not make every day exciting. That is not their purpose. They remind you that your time still has direction and that your presence still has value. Truth number 5. You do not need many people. You need the right people. Older adults are often told to socialize more, as though adding names to a contact list automatically solves loneliness. But you can know 20 people and still have nobody you can call when your heart feels heavy. Then, 1 dependable person can make all the difference. 1 person who notices when your voice sounds different. 1 person who does not become uncomfortable when you speak about grief or fear. 1 person with whom silence does not need to be filled. Instead of trying to build a large social circle, create a few small, consistent connections. Arrange a weekly call, find a walking companion, exchange small favors with a trustworthy neighbor. Invite someone for tea without worrying that your home must look perfect. The goal is not to have a full contact list. It is to have someone you can contact without pretending. And if you do not have that person today, do not assume it is too late. Friendship after 70 may develop more slowly, but it can also become more honest. Now we come to truth number 6. Your home should be a base, not a border. There is nothing wrong with preferring your own home. Home may be where your memories live. It may contain the chair your spouse once used, photographs of people you still love, and familiar objects that remind you who you were before the world began treating you only as an older person. Your home can be a sanctuary, but a sanctuary should restore you, not slowly separate you from everything that makes you feel alive. Isolation rarely arrives with an announcement. It enters through small decisions that appear harmless. You stop attending an activity you once enjoyed. You ignore a telephone call because conversation feels exhausting. You postpone an outing until next week. Eventually, leaving home begins to feel more difficult than staying inside. This does not mean you must force yourself into noisy gatherings or fill every day with activity. It means you should occasionally ask yourself one honest question. Am I staying home because this brings me peace, or because the outside world has started frightening me? Notice whether you regularly cancel things you previously enjoyed. Pay attention if several days pass without a meaningful exchange. Ask yourself whether you remain curious about people, places, and possibilities beyond your front door. If your world has started shrinking, you do not need to transform your life overnight. Open one small doorway. Sit outside for 10 minutes. Walk into a familiar shop. Telephone someone you trust. Attend one small community activity. Invite a neighbor for tea, or offer to teach someone a skill you know well. You do not need to abandon your peace. You only need to make sure your peace has not quietly become a wall. And now we reach the final truth. It is not about how much help you accept or how many people visit. It is about whether your life still has somewhere to go. Truth number 7. Stay connected to the future. Living alone becomes especially difficult when the future begins to feel empty. After retirement, bereavement, or major changes in health, it is easy to believe that the most important parts of life are behind you. You begin living through memories instead of expectations. Memories matter. They remind you whom you loved, what you built, and what you survived. But a fulfilling life also needs something ahead of it. It might be a visit next month, a book you want to finish, a garden you plan to grow, a family recipe you want to teach, or a skill you have always been curious about. It does not need to be a grand dream. It only needs to give tomorrow a shape. The future does not belong only to the young. As long as you can anticipate something, learn something, create something, or offer something, part of you is still moving forward. So ask yourself, what am I looking forward to? If no answer comes immediately, do not judge yourself. Begin small. Put one date on the calendar. Choose one project. Make one promise to yourself that has nothing to do with obligation. Independence is not only the ability to manage today, it is the freedom to remain interested in tomorrow. If you live alone, your home is not evidence that you have been forgotten. It may be evidence of everything you survived, everything you built, and the peace you finally earned. You are allowed to enjoy solitude. You are also allowed to admit when you need a voice, a hand, or a reason to step outside. Neither choice makes you weak. Both can be acts of wisdom. Now, I would like to hear from you. When does living alone feel most peaceful? And when does it feel most difficult? Share your experience in the comments. Your words may help another person recognize that they are not alone in what they feel. And if you believe older voices deserve to be heard with honesty, respect, and dignity, subscribe to the 100-Year Voices. Remember this: living alone is an address. A meaningful life is built from peace, purpose, connection, and something still waiting for you tomorrow.